this training is going to cover 4 main topics. The first one is going to be comm etiquette. The second one is going to be, let's see, what's this building right here? I think it's the triple stack. We'll cover triple stack buildings, then we'll cover powerhouses, and then we'll cover squad cohesion and just staying together. This is supposed to be a basic training. Oh, 1 second. No, can you not hear platoon or something?
Oh, okay, I can't. Okay.
Oh, yeah, I'm talking in platoon. So, okay. Where was I? I got distracted. Oh, and the last one's going to be squad cohesion. And this is just going to be a basic training, so there's a lot of other material on YouTube. There's another video that I got most of my material from off of YouTube. Mine's going to be just a little bit faster, because that one's relatively long, but hopefully mine will be faster anyway. Yeah, so this is a basic training. There's a lot of other great material on YouTube if you want, and then we'll hopefully be uploading this to YouTube as well. So, this building that I'm shooting at right here, this is called a triple stack. It's called a triple stack because it has 3 floors, 2 floors inside, and then the roof is considered a floor. I thought that was silly at first, but now it makes sense to me. So everybody, let's go inside, and we're gonna go over some more terminology. Go straight to the 2nd floor. Okay, so this building is very, very common as a point hold building. You'll see this building a lot. Typically, almost always, the point is in one of these 2 rooms on the 2nd floor. The room that the point is in is always going to be called primary room, and the room that the point is not in is going to be called the secondary room. This allows you to call out primary stairs versus secondary stairs, primary roof stairs versus secondary roof stairs.
Let me just say something real quick. You guys can respawn right to the center here. You don't have to walk over here. That's all.
Okay. Oh, did somebody just blow it up? No. That's not great. Okay. Where was I? So, when you're defending the space, whether you're on the defense or on the attack, this is it's really important to get good at point holds in these type of buildings. So, when you're defending these buildings, the 2 primary entrances that the enemies will take are the staircases, but there's also windows that they'll try to get in through. They'll also go in through the roof and the balcony. The balcony is very often overlooked, and on a lot of bases, especially on Ezimir, you can get in through the balcony without having to be a ledge soul. So just keep that in mind. When you're doing a point hold, you want to make sure that you cover every entrance. If you have enough guys, you want a guy on every single staircase, every single doorway, and ideally on the roofs, and at least 2 on the staircase if you can. Your positioning within the room itself should try to stick to the walls. This game has a lot to do with angles. You want to try to stick to walls as best as you can. Grenades also tend to be in the center of the room and not to the side of the room, so you'll be in better shape from hiding from grenades. And that's it for positioning. Probably missing something, but it's coming to mind. So, what I'd like everybody to do is I'd like everybody to run down to the Sunderer. To the Sunderer, everybody run to the Sunderer. Okay. When I say go, I want you guys to breach this room like you're going to set up for a point hold. So, go.
Frag out!
Awesome. Okay, that was really good. You guys used all the entrances. You guys went into the balconies. You guys used both staircases. I saw at least one person use the roof. That's really important when you're entering buildings. You never want to bunch up in one doorway, you want to go through as many doors as you can simultaneously. Often what'll happen is one guy will be, they'll, even if they're well set up, one guy will say, we have a bunch of guys coming in through this door, and players will leave their post to go defend that one location. But if you have, they will often overcompensate and allow other areas, especially the roofs and the balconies, to be undefended, and you can get some sweet shots in the back on bad guys. So, go ahead and stop moving, and this will be your positioning. So you're set up, okay. So, we're a little bit bunched up in the room that I'm in, on the staircase. It's not a bad place to be, but you guys there's just a little bit too many people on that staircase. Also, we're, looks like we're about almost 2 full squads, so that might have something to do with it. Actually, you know what? This secondary room that I'm in now is very, very barren. There's very few people in it. There's like only one guy, maybe 2 on the staircases, and only sort of. Yeah, Thunder King I think had the staircases. I didn't see him there initially. But there weren't that many people in this other room. So try to spread yourselves out. It's not a big deal so long as every entrance is covered. But just keep in mind, also when you're setting up, I know I'm having you guys stay still right now, but what you want to do is you always want to be kind of moving. I like to think of it as having like happy feet or dancing or something like that. You want to constantly be like moving around and jump, kind of like you have ADD or something, and you're just like ADHD over here with your keys. You're bouncing around. You always want to stay moving. Don't stay stagnant. I think it's just, in my experience, every time I try to stay still and just like think that I'm just going to focus on hitting the guy as soon as they come around the corner, it never works for me. And I most people will tell you it's the exact same advice, that you want to keep moving constantly. You can have your main point, but always do a quick look over your shoulder every now and then. Especially if you ever have to reload, do a quick check over your shoulder, make sure there's nothing behind you, things like that. And just be having happy feet, but stay, at the same time, you need to stay looking down at your defense point. Okay, let's see, is there anything I missed on this triple stack building?
C4 placement?
Not anything in particular about C4 placement with, at least I don't know anything about specific C4 placement. I don't like placing... I don't really like placing tank mines and bouncing betties and things like that inside buildings, because, especially if you're doing point holds, far too often, you almost are guaranteed to get EMP'd at least once, which will detonate all the proximity devices, and that renders all the useless. I like to put the tank mines, the bouncing betties, all that stuff outside the building, so you should be doing that as you enter the building. That way, or first floor. But that way, if it does get detonated by an EMP, it's not going to kill any friendlies. And also, bad guys tend to check once they're inside buildings. They don't check as often outside buildings. I think people have just been claymored or bounced and bettied one too many times as they run around the corner, that people have gotten onto that and they slow down when they go around corners, whereas prior to the doorway, especially if there's grass or something to kind of hide it a little bit, they're less likely to check.
Where's prime pretty good places for take mines and proxy mines? Or bouncy betties, better yet.
Outside the door, outside the buildings, or like, I would say 5 to 10 meters outside the doorway.
In general, not specifically for these rooms, but imagine that you are breaching...
You may want to mention...
Thunder King? Oh, you're talking to squad.
Oh yeah, okay, sorry. In general, not specifically for this building, but just always, imagine that you're breaching a building, right? And when you're running up, think about the path you're taking, and also, like... here, let me get up to where you guys... When I run into this room, right, I can't see right around this corner right down here, right? And I might turn this corner really quickly. So So a bouncing Betty right here, or right there, is a good spot in this direction because I can't see it, because the enemy can't see it, right? So now you don't as Geog was kind of saying, you don't want tank mines in the middle, you know, in where you are, because your friendlies will get blown up by it. But like bouncing Bettys sometimes and stuff. Just really imagine in your head the enemy's path and put them where they're gonna go and where they can't see them as they're moving forward towards you.
Sparkly, were you gonna say something?
Peeking from the roof.
Oh. Wait, peeking up the roof?
Grenade
No,
out!
when you go down the stairs from the roof.
Oh, okay, yeah. Oh, yeah, good point. So, if you guys haven't heard of the term slicing corner, it's where you aim down sights as you go around corners, and you want to work the angle so that you take it very slowly, and that as you go around the corner, you're able to sweep your field of view as you open up your field of view. So you've cut half the room off that you know bad guys aren't going to be as you go around, and that way with your crosshair going around the corner, you can focus on bad guys. There's a great YouTube video on this called Slicing Corners. I think it's by Rel, but I'm not actually sure. Really important, especially if you're coming in from the roof. If you kind of, especially this one in particular, this staircase that I'm at right now, if you're coming around this corner,
Got extra
You
ammunition
can see
here.
Jane gets roundstone first thing, so when
Yeah.
you're turning the corner, you shouldn't be jumping out more than enough to see
Yeah.
Jane get round your first enemy, wherever your first enemy is.
and if you see a bunch of bad guys, just take cover again. Like, you don't have, take some shots, but don't get yourself killed. You don't have to run into a building full of crowded guys if you don't absolutely have to. If there's not, 5 seconds left on the cap point, there's no point in jumping in there. Also, this staircase in particular, you're able to see all the way into the other room, so you can effectively get, if you're at this location that I'm at, with right in this location, you can look into the other room and not be shot at by most of the people in the closest room to you. So you can essentially clear that room and the room that you're in from this staircase. The other staircase, I don't think you can do it as effectively. Let me just double check. No, with this staircase you can. You don't have as much of a wall,
I've got ammo for you.
so you don't have as much cover if you're trying to shoot into the next room, because you can do it, but you're opened up to more bad guys if they're in the closest room to you. But it's effective nonetheless.
Being against this wall back behind Geog, the stairway, like right here where I am, the stairway blocks the people from shooting at you a little bit. So this location isn't super good for that, but sometimes being a little further back leaves less of you vulnerable.
Are there any questions?
But don't forget about primary and secondary.
Oh yeah, I think I already covered that, but if I missed out, the primary room is going to be the room that the point is in. The secondary room is going to be the room that the point is not in. This is always addressing the second floor, because when you're holding a point, you never want to be on the bottom floor. You always want to be stacked up on the first floor. Don't worry about the bottom floor. If you run down the staircase, you're very likely to get shot by your friendlies. In addition to, you're going to get caught in a crossfire between friendlies and bad guys. So don't ever go downstairs if you're trying to hold the point. And medics, if you see somebody die down there, just let them die. Don't revive them, because then you'll get shot, and then we'll have 2 guys dead instead of 1. Okay. Anything else that you guys think I might have missed? Any comments, questions, concerns?
Another thing, not specifically about these rooms, but medics, your job in rezzing, the order of importance to res people are, what would you say, other medics first, or maxes? Kind of depends.
Medics, maxes.
I
I don't want to say that there's a specific. Yeah, I don't want to say there's a specific order, but I think it's situational.
Yeah.
I think, yeah, Kitty,
Well, what I was
talking
going to say,
platoon.
the order, you heal the person who's
Kitty,
alive
Kitty.
first because they
Kitty,
can shoot
stop.
out to protect you. Then you revive the person who's dead.
Hey, Kitty, are you? Yeah, talking platoon chat.
Oh,
Kitty.
sorry. The order what you do if there's a person who's injured, you heal them first and then you revive.
Okay. Well, I'll say. Okay. So, if you see that hypothetically you see a person of every single class dead on the floor, and you only have a chance to revive one.
The heavy first.
You know, the heavy. Well, what about the max or another medic?
So
Heavy first, then the medic, then the max. The max takes
I don't-
longer.
I don't want to say that there is and is not a.
It depends. It honestly depends on who's blinking. If
Yeah.
that's who you pick up first.
Okay.
I mean,
well,
yeah.
okay.
So it also depends on if you're under fire or not. My personal preference is to go medic, and then the max is usually going to be last because maxes take so long that you open yourselves up to being
Yeah.
under fire quickly. So max is always last.
I always go for the heavy first because they can protect me,
Yeah. Heavies are really important.
and then I go for the medic because they can help revive other people.
So. Yeah. So it's always going to
Basically,
vary on which
platoon is
one is
last.
most important. I think is a good way to put it. So heavies are important because they're main all-around class and they protect the medics and stuff. Medics are important, like she said, because they are the ones that heal each other and heal everybody else and keep the fight going. And then maxes are important if they're, and then also another thing is how good the player is. So if the max dies in a stupid spot, then ignore them. If the heavy dies in a stupid spot, ignore them. Heal the person that's going to keep you alive and keep the fight going the most first. And then another thing is keep in mind other factors that you can't name all of them, like how long is left in the fight, because if there's only a few seconds left in the fight, it might change who you want to revive.
I mean, I'll revive anybody.
Oh, may I
But,
also add something to that?
Alright, we'll have one more comment, and then we're gonna move on to powerhouses.
Yes, another factor is the sub-factors, like distance from the person you want to revive and the difficulty of getting to them and such.
Yeah, that's really good.
Yeah. Alright. Let's move on
Take some
to
ammunition.
powerhouses. So everybody, platoon waypoint, everybody run over to this building over here.
While we're running, just real quick, 10 seconds. If we're gal dropping on the building, just same as breaching from the bottom, use all entrances.
Got
Yep.
extra
Yeah.
ammunition.
Oh yeah, you know what? I did leave that out. So, I did say that you should use all entrances, but on the triple stack, with your heavy, especially if you're going in from the top, you can get onto the balconies and go through windows even if you're not alive still. It's a little trickier, but you can do it. Okay, so this building that we're in front of, this is called a powerhouse. It holds the generator inside the biolab. It's very common, like the triple stack, so it's really good to know how to defend. So let's all go
Take
inside.
some ammunition.
Fire in the hole!
Okay, so when holding a powerhouse, oftentimes the point will be in this this room right here that I'm in. This is called the double back
Got
room
extra
because it's
ammunition
got two back doors. I'll shoot. Usually they're open, but these are closed because I don't know. I guess this training building sucks. Okay, so then the other thing you need to know. This staircase that I'm on right here, it's the big one. It's got kind of two flights. These are called big stairs, long stairs, fat stairs, grand stairs. Basically, these are the big stairs, or some variation of that name. I've heard them called grand stairs, long stairs, fat stairs. Any of those work, they all mean the same thing. You can figure it out. The other staircase These are called short stairs, skinny stairs. Those are the only ones I've heard them,
Ammunition
but
here.
it's the opposite of big. And then this area that I'm standing in right here, area in between the double backs and the staircases,
I can heal you.
this is called the triage area. The reason why this is called the triage area is that
Ammunition here.
when you're holding this building, you always want to be controlling and have the majority of your people split between the double backs room, the long stairs, and the short stairs. And then right here, right where I'm standing,
Got
around
extra
here,
ammunition here.
the bad guys should have no angle to shoot you. This means that medics should hang out here, and this is where maxes go to get repaired. This is where medics,
I can
you know,
heal
hang
you.
out, make sure they don't die, and then medics float between the double backs, the short stairs, and the long stairs, and reinforce each point as needed and keep guys alive.
Got
For
extra
defending it,
ammunition here.
you want like 2 anti-infantry turrets on the long stairs, an anti-infantry turret on each door on the double backs, and then 1 anti-infantry turret on the short stairs. Then everybody else can just split up after that. You want an even distribution. You can kind of float guys around to different locations as possible, but you don't want to. You never want to overcompensate, and you
Ammunition
never
here.
want to leave a post completely undefended unless you know for a fact that nobody's coming down that location and the other side is heavily under fire. Otherwise, stick to your location unless it's absolutely critical. Okay. Okay, so for
Got extra
generators
ammunition
and
here.
the rare occurrence that there's a point on the second or on the first floor, generator rooms, there's like lettuce shelves and some cover in here that makes it a little bit clear. But when you're down here, it's good to have maybe a max and an engineer. But otherwise, everybody still should be up on the short stairs and the long stairs, and also a few people on the double backs, because from those stair locations you can cover all the entrances to this building and have good cover. If you're down here, you can get split up really easily. You lose line of sights to your friends. You might have to run through enemies to get to your and to support your allies, and they to you. And it's just really easy to get cut off. So a max and an engineer down here is not a bad idea. Everybody
I've
else
got
should
ammo
be up
for
top,
you here.
covering all the doorways. The other aspect that I saw in the video where I learned most of this stuff is the numbers of the doors. I don't know how important it is, but I'll spit it off here. Door number 1, one I'm shooting at. Door number 2.
Take some ammunition.
Door number 3. It doesn't matter. Sometimes they'll be closed, or 1 or 2 of them will be closed. Doesn't really matter. They always maintain the same numbering system. So it's always 1, 2, 3 from left to right.
I've got ammo for you here.
Let's see here. Is there anything I've missed?
The spacing between person to person.
Should be about 5 meters. This is, if you guys have ever been in one of Ro's trainings, he'll point this out. If you guys come over here,
Take some ammunition.
if you see the grating that I'm shooting at right here, those little gratings, the distance between those gratings is about 5 meters. So, you can use that as a reference. It's also about like the radius of a grenade. So if you're about 5 meters apart from your buddies, oh, there goes a grenade. Yeah, see that thing? Kill him.
Frag
5
out!
meters away.
Frag out!
So if you're about 5 meters away from your buddy, if they get hit with a sticky grenade or whatever, assuming they don't run at you, you will not
Got
die.
extra ammunition here.
So you try to want to maintain a 5 meter spacing. Oh, what's up, Senator King?
Did you? I face that look. Did you mention the engineer anti?
I'll get you fixed up.
Like the ones that are manned by a person.
No, I didn't bring those up. Oh, I talked about the anti-infantry ones to do top of the stairs, but
Oh, okay. Yeah.
in preparation for a max crash, having anti-vehicle turrets is not a bad tactic, come to think of it. Does anybody know, do they one-hit kill maxes?
They do not.
Oh, they should.
I think it's a 2.
But that's not a bad tactic.
What
The one
about
downside
having
of the anti-vehicle turrets is that they don't have a lot of cover, so they're only
And the
really
orange,
used.
the orange-yellow stripes on the wall. Black
Oh,
and yellow.
yeah. So, black and yellow stripes. Everybody go line up on the wall that I'm shooting at. Everybody go line up over there.
I've got ammo for you here.
Okay. You guys did a nice spacing. I like this. Looks nice. Okay, so right above the black and yellow stripes on the wall, like just above it, that's headshot height. So if
Ammunition
you
here.
hold your crosshairs roughly around those black and yellow black and yellow stripes, you're almost guaranteed to get a headshot because of the recoil. Unless you're really good with your aim, the recoil typically will hit the chest and it'll pop up.
Outfit bored and not doing anything, they
Everybody
could
can
join
see
us,
me up
help
here
us
at the
do
top
some
of the
hides
We're doing
and
training
kill
right
people.
now.
Thing is,
They invite me.
So yeah, it'll just pop up, get a headshot.
They're doing training.
So that's useful.
Or if you
Yeah, we're
crouch,
doing-
then your head is going to be along the bottom
What's it
line
about?
as well.
Powerhouses, triple stacks.
They invite me to the outfit.
Yeah.
Squad.
Which one?
Either one, I don't care. Got extra ammunition.
Okay.
Because one's doing training and me, I'm doing
I'll have
hides.
to check on it. I need to
Trying to make event. Geog,
somebody can invite him. I don't really know what's going on there. Okay. Okay. Ooh, did I cover? Oh, I didn't cover comm etiquette or squad cohesion first. I wanted to cover one of those first, and I didn't. And I think I got distracted. So we'll cover them now. When it comes to squad coordination, it's okay to spread out, and it's okay to move around within a building and not be like right on top of each other. But as a general rule, you want to be within,
back.
10 to 20 meters of your squad at all time. So everybody, let's have Bravo run to Bravo waypoint. Let's have Alpha run to Alpha waypoint.
Okay.
Get to it.
But you can't get to Alpha waypoint. Oh, you just use the minimap. It'll hit the top of the thing. Bravo, Sparkly. Oh yeah, Sparkly Panda. You can float. Demon and Sparkly Panda. Since you guys are recording, you guys can float between the clumps, but it doesn't really matter. What I'm trying to illustrate is if you look at your map, hit M on your keyboard. Look at your map. If you can see, everybody's kind of grouped up together. And that's the way it looks on the map. Now, we're all a little bit close. You still want to maintain that, 5-meter spacing, ideally. 5 to 10 meter spacing. But you don't want to be standing right on top of each other. So, but outside of that, that's how it should look on a map. In perfect case scenario, everything's going perfect. It should look like this on your map. You shouldn't have, one guy on the other side of the warp gate, another guy, in the tower, another guy in the powerhouse, another guy in the triple stack. You should have it relatively close together, so that if somebody dies, you'll have a bunch of buddies to immediately return fire on the guy that killed the guy who is now dead, and you'll have medics to instantly get that guy up. If you guys are, too spread out, if you guys are just, out of contact with each other, and if you trickle into buildings one by one, they'll be able to basically kill you one by one, and you will have a harder time getting rezzed, and your survivability goes down significantly. And also your KD. Also, you'll have a lot more fun if you don't die as often. So, that's for squad cohesion. So when you're operating within a squad, even if it's casual, always try to wait and stick to a buddy. Grab a battle buddy. So I just happen to see Fidelity, but I think there are other people that are closer. Just try to stick with other people. Ideally, you want to move around in groups of 4 to 5, but sometimes that's not possible. Sometimes you got to stick to 2 and 3. And I get it. On the battlefield, guys get cut off, and things are messy, so it's never going to look this clean. But look at this guy with this reaver. Comrade AIDS.
Tactical pink.
So it's never going to be this simple, but you know, as a general rule, you want to try to stick together, and you'll have a lot more fun that way. Try to, if you're dead, make sure you stay on the dead screen for a long time. Try to give your medics as much chance as possible to revive you, and then if you spawn in the Sunder, wait till your friend spawns in, and then move out together. You know, give them a nice little, hey, run with me in proxy chat or something, and hopefully he does it. So, anything else? Oh, okay, now we're on to comm etiquette. So with comm etiquette, you want to... Thanks guys for the smoke, it's lovely. You want to... Honestly, you want to talk as little as possible. You want things to be short and to the point. Try to convey as much information as you can in as few as words as possible. So instead of saying as few as words as possible, you want to say speak succinctly. Things like that, and even in casual public platoons, it's really easy. I'm just as much of a culprit as anybody else, but you want to try not to have like conversations with one other person, because it gets really frustrating if you're trying to be a platoon lead and people are having like full-on conversations. Try to keep it to, you know, a quick one-liner here and there, and if you want to say a lot, maybe type it instead of talking. And then if you're doing a serious squad, then really you absolutely don't, you should not ever have a conversation. You should only be talking about pertinent things that are necessary for the survival of platoon. And
such as enemies on secondary stairs.
Yep. So shouting out, yeah, one secondary. Yeah, one secondary, things like that. I will not criticize you if you say, you know, one enemy on secondary stairs versus one secondary stairs. At that point, you get the point. So, any questions, comments, concerns?
I have a comment about if you're the only medic, don't be the first one in the room.
Oh yes, yeah. Do not. If you're the only medic, you should just kind of like hide in a hole, and your own job is to res people when they die.
Just a comment. When you're on the trip stacks and you're heavy, you can go ahead and while we're defending, you can stay on the roof to shoot down their spawn room with rockets, or you can shoot down some vehicles if you can.
So I think that in certain situations that's okay, but I would ask squad lead if that's fine. Hey Brex, try not to talk over me. The one thing I will say about heavies is that, and being on the roof, is that they become really vulnerable to air, and that can be another trap for getting medics killed. So if you want to stay on the roof, I would recommend asking the squad lead.
And generally, you don't need to shoot rockets towards the spawn. Maybe if there's a max crash or something, you can shoot a rocket at
Yeah,
the max
there's a time and a place for it, so it can be very effective. Like, I know what you're talking about. Especially if there's a max crash, or like an Envari Southern Barracks, I think it's called. It's just Envari South Bank. Being on the roof is not a bad idea in that situation, because you can cover their advance to the building, but in other hexes, it's not as useful. And in Indarcom array, it's really good to control to the top of that building, because you can fire down on the point and guys advancing to the point, but other buildings, not so much. So, any other, Brax, did you have something to say? Brax. Okay. Any other questions, comments, concerns?
Thanks, Geog.